hands up, no turning back.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Strive Tribe Podcast. As always, it's Nick and Devan. But today we have a very special guest. Introduce yourself, bro.
I'm Drew, Devan's brother.
If you guys couldn't tell already.
But today we wanted to bring on my brother because not only does he have an athletic background, just like everyone else, he's gone through his own fitness journey. You know, everyone's journey, as we've talked about multiple times, is on a different path. Coming from an athletic background and playing sports and stuff, and we'll go into that, you know, and then he started a career and it didn't translate, and, you know, his path wasn't seamless in his fitness. So we want to kind of go into that with him today and kind of show you guys as well that it's the same for everybody. You know, there is no excuse on, you know, you don't have enough time in the day, believe me. But we're going to go into that a little bit. So I'm excited for this one. But I want you to start off, you know, tell them a little bit about your athletic background, you know, from as a kid of, you know, us doing martial arts and stuff until, you know, all the way until high school. Yeah, so I've pretty much been involved in sports my whole life. The main one was football. Once I kind of found football, I think maybe third grade playing Pop Warner, was just a love I had. Played it through high school. And I think that was like, to kind of like take it a step back, like, you know, doing martial arts and stuff, and you've been athletic. We've done sports as kids. You know, our parents put us in every kind of sport you can think of. And, you know, I kind of took a lot of those roles and did them. And then for you, though, it was just, you're more definitely like the defiant, you know, like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I just remember like the first season you played Pop Warner, it was like a light switch. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I mean, martial arts, it wasn't my thing. I do like team sports, you know, that's kind of, I get in a groove with, you know, a team mentality more so. And football was my thing, and, you know, played football until I couldn't anymore in high school. Concussions kind of ruled me out. And then found shot put and discus, which was fun, and then shoulder went out, so. I think you like football, though, because you liked hearing the pads and the helmet hit when you hit each other. For sure. That was, I mean, it's fun, especially you see someone that doesn't see you, you get a nice hit. It's just enjoyable. It feels like you shouldn't be allowed to be doing it, you know?
Right. No, I have a question that is just, you know, I wanted to ask from not being part, obviously, like your family. Did you guys, because I know you guys have another brother, did you guys all have a different favorite sport? Kind of like, I guess yours was football. What was yours, Devan? Martial arts? Yeah, mine was martial arts and like fighting and stuff. But I mean, like I even did like I think it was my senior year of high school, I did rugby. Yeah. I think it was senior year. I did rugby. I liked it. But again, like I saw it as more of like a recreational thing. Like I wasn't about to like drop, you know, fighting for that. But for me, I liked rugby because you had the aspect of football, but it was still a individual sport. I'm more of an individual sport person. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like football, except it's you have the ball and now your team kind of comes around you, but it's whoever has the ball is basically the person that everyone's trying to tackle. Yeah. And there is no real like plays, or you can't really block the same in rugby as in football. Where for Drew, him being a team player, again, once he did that, it's not like it wasn't a violent sport and he just didn't like the violence of martial arts. It was just a different aspect. He did really well in teams. I am very competitive in the sense of if I'm given 100 and you're not, like, believe me, I'm going to be on you because I hated losing, like in general. Yeah, I think I enjoyed also, you know, strategizing. You know, like how you said, there's in rugby no plays, or football, it's you know, all strategy. 100%. You know, it's almost a big puzzle. This isn't working, let's do that. This isn't working, let's do that. This is working, let's keep with that. And I kind of thrive off of finding a groove, you know, whether it's with a team or solo, but finding that groove and kind of going with it. And as you asked, the younger brother kind of was more so in a role like him doing solo type of stuff. But yeah, I think I was the only one. Kind of football was my passion. Still love it, but don't play it. But, you know, and yeah, that's kind of how the family dynamic went. I kind of went my own path. And I mean, I think everyone does go their own path. I mean, even like our youngest brother, Jake, I mean, he did do martial arts and stuff, but he never had the same like drive as I did for it.
he kind of did it because it was one of those things where you had to pick a thing to do as athletics, and he was just like, well, I'm kind of good at this. I'll just do it.
Had to pick your activity.
You know, he's more of like the academics side.
Yep.
And, you know, kind of going into that, I mean, how we both are individual in our desires for sports, right? Like he said, he likes to do football because of like the strategy behind it. Like as a team, you guys strategize. Where for me, for like martial arts, even rugby, it's not that there's not strategy, but like I'm an on the fly kind of strategist. Like I like to just see what works, see what doesn't work, and then adapt by myself. And then if it doesn't work, I have no one to blame but myself right then. But again, that translates into your fitness journeys too. Some people also need like a set routine, like this is what you're gonna do. When then there's other people that are just like, I'm just gonna keep trying different stuff, see what works, what doesn't work. And again, there's no right answer. There's no right answer for athletics. There's no right answer for your fitness journey. The main thing is that you're doing it.
Correct. Yeah. I think that's one thing I struggled with during a fitness journey as well. I mean, back in 2016, 2017, possibly, I lost a bunch of weight. You know, I've always struggled with weight. I was always the heavier of the brothers. And so I lost a bunch of weight, but I was more so seeking that like social media, you know, oh, take this diet pill, take this and follow this program and it works for everyone. And I mean, it may have worked temporarily, but as you've seen me throughout the years, it doesn't stick.
Right.
You know, and that's just, I think an issue with a lot of people's journeys is they try to find that quick solution. They try to find that social media post. Oh, you know, take this supplement and do this workout and you'll look like me. And that's not the case for everyone. And I think that's a thing that I've always struggled with, is saying like, oh, this person's doing that, I'm just going to copy that. Doesn't work, I get discouraged, I stop working out.
Right.
You know, and that's just been a struggle that I've noticed. I had to kind of find my groove and see, you know, do it on my own time. As far as like, I had to recognize what was going on. I had to recognize like, that I can't even look in the mirror right now, you know, and finally find a path that I can go and you know, follow that journey.
So, I mean, I like that you said that. Like, I really like that you said that because it ties into the foundation of what we were just talking about, like the sports thing, that not everybody, because what a lot of people do, they tend to do is compare themselves, compare what they have to, what they think they have to do or what they have to follow for them to be doing the right thing. When it comes down to that aspect, like you guys were looking for the sport that you love. You were looking for that passion that works for you, and then you stick to it. So same thing with what you saw like, when you were going through that. It's like, you know, since it's influenced by the outside and the social media and stuff, it's not what works for you though. That's what I feel like a lot of people get stuck on, and it's like everybody is different. I heard Devan talking to one of the members earlier. Honestly, I forgot the specific conversation, but he was saying that like his like 10% body fat is different than my 10% body fat because we're two different people, but we have two different bodies. So comparing like a specific like detailed thing for me and him, two different people is not ideal.
Yeah, genetics do play a certain role. They aren't a make or break, but there is a physiological aspect to genetics. Like that's where that like 10% came in, where we could both look identical and I could be at 8, you could be at 10. And again, we look the same. But I mean, it really goes down into like that aspect, and it definitely is. It's not a one case fits all. And I think what's you know notable on what you were talking about of like you were even looking on social media and stuff when we tell people to reach out, ask questions and stuff like that, like you didn't ask me for help initially. It didn't happen right away. It didn't happen for a while. And then I kept telling you, like, if you want help, like, I'll give it to you. And then you're like, no, I'm good. And or like, you just like, okay, yeah. And you would never like really ask for it. And then it got to a point where I could see you were trying to work out. And then you just weren't, then I stopped noticing it because you stopped doing it again. But I wasn't always around because I was in college and stuff. And then it was like one of those things where eventually you're like, yeah, can you just write me something that's tailored to me? And then we adjusted it. And you having a brother that is, his life is fitness, like this is what I've made my career. Like it was even, you know, a little bit of a struggle for you to reach out, you know?
Yeah,
so it's okay for someone else too that doesn't have a brother, sister, you know, or a relative or even a friend that's in the fitness field. Like it's also one of those things where I had to realize like, damn, it's probably not as easy for them to ask. Like when your own blood was like, I'll help you. And you're like, yeah, for sure. But it's like that awkward thing because your own journey and your own fitness, like, journey is like, it's personal.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's a big thing too. Like, I think where I struggle is, like you said, the reaching out aspect of it. I don't know if it's a matter of, accountability where it's like, you write it for me and then I feel like I'm holding myself accountable for you versus where I need to get to a point where let me feel accountable for myself. Once I get in that mindset, now I could, hey, like I'm mentally ready to be accountable for myself. Now let me see how I can get help because I'm focusing on me. I'm not focusing on a workout journey to make, you happy as my brother or, a trainer to be like, okay, I need to make sure I hit this to please them.
Right.
I don't know if everyone has that, but that's kind of something that I've always dealt with is like, I want to be accountable. I don't want to feel like, my journey is to please somebody that is guiding me or helping me.
You want to make it like a habit on your own time. Once it was a habit, it's like, okay, now I know this is something I'm going to be able to be doing or I'm actually going to stick to. Now it's like, okay, let's actually fine tune this and let's get the results from it.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it might be an embarrassment aspect if like you spend all this time helping me and then I just stop. It's like, all right, like what's going on here,
Right.
But that mentality, I think, is a huge part of it.
That's gold right there. That's major key because it's like, the purpose behind why you're doing what you're doing, like on that, starting and being on that, that process. It's like, if you're not doing it for the right reason, which is for yourself, there's many ways and kind of easier in a way to fail and not stick to it because your foundation isn't for the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like, I'm sure a lot of people out there can definitely relate to that. So that's super helpful.
Yeah, I think another thing that, sorry to interrupt you, but goals too. Like, I think my first time where I lost a bunch of weight, that was my goal. Like, all right, I'm fat. I need to try to not be fat. That was the goal. And then once I reached that point where I lost a bunch of weight, then I'm like, all right, cool. Then, like I said, I stopped working out, and it's like I got very comfortable with what it was. And then, 4 or 5 years go by, and I look in the mirror like, well, what happened? Like, what happened? And I feel like you don't really see it as it's progressing, and then all of a sudden you look one day and it's like, oh dang, like it's really different now. Like, and then you got to pick up but I feel like you have to recognize that before you pick it back up and try to, recognize it within.
Right. And I mean, that's like, before we go into that, because there was that time where you did lose a bunch of weight and then, you starting your job and stuff that you obviously went the opposite way. But I want to kind of like touch again real quick, like on what you were saying about how you were making it a habit for yourself before and not wanting to disappoint someone that's, trying to guide you. It's also, I mean, Nick and I, like, we don't always see it that way. For us, it's being on the other side. It's weird because it's like, dude, like I'll help you. Like, let me help you. Like, fuck, dude, like, let me just help you. And then, but at the same time, like, we don't always see it through those lenses. Is like, yeah, I want the help and I need the help, but let me make sure that I can make this a routine in my life so that when I do take the help, it's actually not just help wasted.
Yes.
But, I want to go into real quick, I want to transition into your journey and that up and down flow that you had when you started, as an electrician. Like what changed in your life besides, all of a sudden, yeah, you were fat and then now you weren't. It's like, what changed?
Pretty much that, when I lost the weight initially, I was, at the end of college, during that college phase. And then, I became a union electrician. It was a 5-year apprenticeship, and construction sites aren't always the healthiest, place to be as far as, they bring donuts in the morning, guys going out for drinks afterwards, and lunch trucks, and, going out for breakfast burritos. And
that sounds bomb.
But falling into that routine, 5 days a week, and then especially, a big issue was going into a 40-hour hands-on labor-filled job. The last thing I was trying to do was come home and work out because I'm exhausted from work. I was just, sitting in classes, 6 months ago, not doing anything except going to class, going to work out, going to class, going to work out. Now I'm doing 40 plus hours a week of physical hands-on labor. So I come home, I lay down, and once I lay down, I'm not getting back up. It's not going to happen, and that was, so I mean, the gain of weight was over those 5 years of the apprenticeship of just, exhaustion. I mean, there was times where I try to work out, but it's a week, and then either A, you don't see results, obviously, in a week, and then you're like, you know what, it didn't work. I'm not gonna continue this. Like, I'm exhausted from this, and that week didn't work. Why am I gonna continue? And that was kind of what allowed me to balloon back up to a weight that was just unhealthy.
And I think there was like, you coping with like the stresses of the job, and you growing into that role, as well as like it transitioned as well. Like you took that work life home from the job sites of drinking and eating unhealthy and brought it into like the household, where, I remember you'd be sending me pictures of like, you grilling and drinking. I'm like, bro, like the grill part was solid. And then and now you're like a couple beers deep. It's like, bro, like this is like a daily thing. Like, so that's one of those things where, again, you've transitioned noticeably from like that being your coping mechanism, your relaxing, or even like just your leisure time, to transitioning back into fitness. Like what made you want to switch all that?
There was personal reasons, me and the wife trying to start a family, and as you know, and we struggled with that whole thing, and going through the whole IVF process, seeing how rigorous it was on her. I mean, I was starting to work out, but didn't change diet, didn't change, just like you said, bringing unhealthy habits at home. I can work out, for however long, and then go eat a bunch of pasta, go eat burgers and fries, and it's kind of not doing anything for me. Right. And once we started that process with her, the whole IVF journey, she had to go on a diet based off the whole procedure, and it was a high protein, low carb diet. And I was like, you know what? I've been working out. She's going through this. I'm gonna support her, and I'm gonna match, the diet that they're asking her to do. I'm gonna do that, and a little bit on that, I just noticed a change in just the way my body was feeling, and I kind of just told her, I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna, during your whole process of this, pregnancy and this whole journey we're gonna go through, you're struggling, you're suffering. I'm going to make a change and actually focus on my diet, my workout, and I mean, being an unhealthy weight and trying to bring, a family into this world, I just sat there and was like, I can't bring a kid into this world and be not taking care of myself. How am I going to take care of the kid if I'm not taking care of myself? And it kind of just clicked and allowed this journey, which, I mean, probably been going on for about a year now. What also helped too, our cousin Eric, I think it was October, we did like a Joe Rogan sober October, get a workout in every single day, just watch what you're eating, drinking, all that kind of stuff. And we did that for that month and saw drastic changes of just everyday workout, everyday clean diet, and, no drinking, and we kind of, after that, was like, that was cool. So like now we just keep each other accountable. Every day he has to text me what he did, and I have to text him what I did. And it kind of is like even though we're not working out personally with each other in the same room, it kind of is that, having that buddy system to keep you accountable for what you're doing.
Right. We've talked about that accountability system. Like it's definitely, it's huge. It's people underestimate having an accountability system like that, where it's just a simple text. Because then all of a sudden, if you text him, then you don't get a text later. You're like, hey, yo, like, what'd you do? Like,
Exactly.
And all of a sudden now they're like, shit, I didn't do anything. Like, I can't text them that. So then all of a sudden they go do that little run and do something, So it definitely does help give that little edge on it.
No, there's times where I'll text him and he's like, oh man, I'm still at work. I'm working at 12. And then, all of a sudden he'll text me, 30 minutes later, I got 100 push-ups and I got this. And he's like, and it's a matter of, making use of your time in those scenarios. If he's stuck at work and he can't get home to go work out, and, that accountability of like, dude, well, I did this. And then he'll do the same thing. Hey, I did this. I don't feel like working out today, man. So he'll text me, dude, give me 100 squats, 100 this. Like, I'm gonna get something out of it, and it's not just getting something out of it, but it's like, then after that, it's like, all right, maybe I'm gonna go in the garage and, get even more of a workout in or something like that, which that helped me as well for my journey, is building a gym in the garage. My father-in-law has a gym, so he just has my whole garage set up. So my biggest issue with not working out was getting home after driving, 2 hours from Long Beach, and then having to get back in the car and go drive to a gym. building the gym in my garage helped me personally because now I get home, I make sure I don't sit down because I won't get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And so straight to the garage and, get your work in.
Right.
Now, from that program that you started with it was your cousin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with your cousin, how big was the change that you see? And then even after that, you kind of continued it afterwards.
In what way? Like physically, like
did you drop like a certain number?
Yeah, so
and then you kind of just went on.
So a little,
just curious.
a little before that. I mean, it's embarrassing to say, but I almost reached 300 pounds. Like, I was up.
But you're also tall too. Like people underestimate like when they say the only reason I say that is like because some people look at weight and again like me and Nick, might be let's say the same in body fat percentage, but like I'm close to like 180, 185, and Nick's like 135.
I'm not 135. Right here, I'm 165.
But at the same time, like, not him at 185 is going to be completely different, So, but it's one of those things where like your personal, like, weight of almost getting to 300 for you was like way outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. For other people, for me getting into like the mid, let's say 210, like I'm already way above my comfort zone. Like I think I've got one time to like when I was trying to bulk like 220 and like I remember like I was like trying to put on some size and like it was uncomfortable. For me, 220 looked like him like closer to 300, but we also have like some inches in our height difference,
I don't even want to think or imagine how I would look trying to push 200. I would probably not even be able to move.
But yes, I'm, I was in the 290s and after the whole, not after the whole journey, during this whole journey, I'm down to about 220 right now. So
that's huge, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's been, like I said, over a year that I've been doing it, which the first time I lost weight, it was like, dropping 50 pounds in like, a very short time, taking whatever diet pills I can take, doing whatever this program is telling me to do as far as, all kind of not maintainable type of workout, and that's kind of the changes that I've seen thus far.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know the specific. Maybe me cut you off. I didn't know the specific numbers and the timeline between that, but that's crazy. That's really good.
Yeah, I think my issue is that I've told you about this before. Is that I get obsessive over the number on the scale and not my physical changes in my physical appearance. It's more like when I was first losing weight, it was number. Every day I wake up, I weigh myself 3-4 times a day. And, if I eat a meal and all of a sudden I see this, I'm like, oh man, it was just a matter of, that's not a healthy way to, be trying to maintain, And so now I more so try to look in the mirror and gauge it off that, obviously check in and weigh in, but don't make it an obsessive thing. Like that's what works for me. Because if I make it obsessive, it becomes unhealthy and unmaintainable.
I mean, going to like when we had that talk about that, like what were you doing? And finally, like you brought it to my attention, and we had to talk about, like the punish yourself mentality, like go into like what you were doing, and then
Yeah. So during this journey I've been going through, it was like let's say I know I'm going to go out for a night of drinking, or I'm going to order pizza. I would make sure that I run an extra 2 miles that day, or do an extra X amount of sets with whatever muscle I'm lifting, and it was. I didn't understand it. I thought it was like, oh, I'm going to earn this. And then talking with you, you were like, no, you kind of have a punishment mentality. You're kind of punishing yourself for what you want to do versus, going through your journey and having your days where you could enjoy this, but not making that a habit to make those enjoyment days a daily occurrence.
Right. And it goes into like that. It's not to say that you weren't doing something good. Like there is a point to like a punishment mentality, right? If you're about to go, let's say eat a bunch of crap or go to Vegas for the weekend and you want to work out super hard this week, like by all means. But to make it a point where like anytime you're going to have something that is somewhat enjoyable, you make it a point to punish yourself before you can get the enjoyment, which makes it an unhealthy obsession just because you wouldn't go do that thing unless you punished yourself first. Like then it was like, damn, like, you had it, and then it's like now you can't sleep, you can't do something until you punish yourself, which, yes, that whole like push yourself and all that stuff, it's good, but it became an obsession where it wasn't just doing it because like, I'm going to do it because I want to. It was like, I need to do this so I can do this.
Yes.
Right. And that's where it became unhealthy. It's like, instead of I want to go do this so I can do this, but shit, I don't have time today. You know what? I can't get in my run right now. That I'll do a run tomorrow. If that wasn't there. It was like, I can't go do X unless I do this,
No, 100%.
So that's where it became unhealthy. And then when you're talking about it, it was like, and I was like, so does that happen all the time? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, so but what if you just wanted to go like out right now, like, the wife wants to go out to eat or, drink or whatever. No, like I need to run before. Like, and I was like, dude, like, you can't live like that, So, but again, like that has definitely led up. I mean, your outlook on like fitness now versus, when you first even got back into it is now definitely you can see it is a pleasure. You can see that, yes, you do punish yourself and yes, you do push yourself, but it is, again, it's a reward just to work out, right? It's a reward to go through that punishment.
No, 100%. It is now enjoyable versus, making your workout feel like a burden or a chore. And
right.
Even that's my workout routine. I like to go, in the garage and, do my cardio. And then I know what muscle group I'll be doing, but I don't like to have a set, like I need to make sure I hit X amount today of this weight or do X amount of reps. I like, feel the body out, make sure I get the work in, but kind of make sure that I'm not, if my shoulder's not feeling good today, I'm not going to go through a whole workout and hurt myself just because I'm telling myself like, oh, this needs to be the workout today.
Right.
Now, follow-up question from the first one that I had asked. How much was the actual progress? Like, what worked for you? Like, I guess like nutrition wise, or like I know you started with your cousin about like just on a diet, eating clean.
Yeah.
For you, what was that like? Kind of you specifically.
So me specifically, I kind of started with what the wife was, subjected to have was high protein, low carb, and then doing that, I was like, I'm gonna try the carnivore diet. Like this sounds super cool, and I did maybe a week, and then I was like, I don't know. For me personally, I couldn't do strictly meat. I wanted some vegetables in there or some fruit or, what I also got nervous with is if I cut out carbs 100%, this time I go to have a carb again, am I going to balloon back up? Because that happened to me before, or I've seen it happen to other people where they go strictly meat and then they decide to start putting some carbs in there and then they balloon back up. And so kind of talking with the wife, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go strictly carnivore. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate some, vegetables, some fruit, and, some low carb stuff, but make sure that that's not a complete wiped out part of my diet. So pretty much, greens, meat, and I try to do high fiber, like alternatives in the sense like, for tortillas, I get the high fiber ones, the low carb ones. And to me, I enjoy those. And it seems like a little treat. And she found some hamburger buns at the same thing. So it's more so being aware of that and not having a bunch of pasta, not having a bunch of rice, just because for me, my body takes that and balloons up. It's not something that I could continuously eat. And I mean, portion control. That was you know me my whole life. Portion control is a big thing, and I'm just now not able to, but focusing on like, all right, I'm full. I'm not gonna overstuff myself because that's been a big thing in my life. It is, this food's good. I'm just gonna load up right now. But now it's a matter of all right, I'm full. I don't need to finish all the food on my plate right now.
Right.
It's okay to put it in the fridge and have it tomorrow. And that's something that I had to mentally gain grasp of too. I don't need to kill this entire plate. I don't need to go and get fast food and kill a whole bunch of food because it sounds good or it tastes good. It's actually understanding like I'm full, I'm good, have it later.
Yeah, you became more aware of like self, like you everything from your nutrition to your workouts to how we talked about your punishment mentality to your accountability system. Like you became more aware of yourself, what you needed to do, what worked for you. And then there's fluctuations in that, but at the end of the day, you had your game plan, and it's been a journey of finding what worked for you, from one aspect, and then finding what worked for you on the next aspect, and then kept evolving to where you are now. And for you, like you built the gym in your garage, and it's like for other people too. Like I know they come straight here from work, they change in the bathroom, and then they go right to the workout. you get to find out what works for you. Because again, you have a crazy schedule, and it's not like you're making that an excuse, for your nutrition. It's like, okay, prep before. You're not making an excuse for your workouts. Like, shit, well, I can't. It's in my fucking garage. Like, how am I not going to not work out? And then, for your accountability system, like you're holding yourself accountable and, with Eric, as well as like, reaching out for help and talking with me and stuff. Again, that happens here and there, when we go over those things. But again, like those things now that they're becoming have evolved. So it's like, first find out one step of what you need to do, become aware of one step that you need to be aware of, and then let it evolve, let it snowball from there. But you don't need to know all the aspects of your journey right away. You don't need to know the full game plan necessarily.
Yeah, because I think things do change during that workout journey, and I think that it's hard breaking that once you find something that is working. It may, like for me, my initial one was I want to, lose weight, but I also want to, lift and build muscle. But, I was more focused on losing weight. So I was more focusing on, cardio with lighter lifting. But then I had to get to a point where I recognized, like, okay, like I do need to kind of change the ratio of what I'm doing,
right.
Incorporate a little more lifting, maybe a little less cardio, and kind of, my workouts from when I started, a year ago are totally different than how it is now. Because if I would have stayed how it was in the beginning, I don't know if it would have stuck fully. I don't know if the results would have been this. I don't know. But like you said, I mean, it was allowing it to snowball and allowing it to evolve was the big thing. Because I think that's what a lot of people might have issues with, is getting stuck in one routine and either being A, afraid to break that routine, or B, just getting comfortable in that routine. And then maybe results don't continue. Maybe you plateau and then you get discouraged and you stop. I mean, that's been an issue in my life, is once I hit a plateau, maybe I get discouraged and stop. Maybe I just get, comfortable in that spot and then doesn't maintain.
And then I know you listened to, our previous podcast, you mentioned it coming in here. What is one-liners, right? What is the best advice someone has given you? And what is the worst advice someone has given you? You don't need to name names. Just give me what is the best advice and what is the worst advice and why?
For a workout?
Not for you.
Just
in life, from work to working out to nutrition, whatever you want to be. Two best things in life advice.
Worst. Start with worst. Probably, I can't quote it word for word, but just, not leaving a certain opportunity because you think that they think that it's best for you or whatever. It works for them. So, don't go do that. You're going to fail because, this worked for me. And to me, being afraid to take that step, I mean, because it works for them, you don't know if it's going to work for you. I mean, you really don't know. I'll add another word. I won't say this is advice, but one thing that bothers me when everyone, during the work, this whole journey of, where I'm at, is when everyone says like, "Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, you're so lucky that you lost the weight." How am I lucky?
Right.
I've been working out. How am I lucky? Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. You're so lucky you found a career and bought a house, and you're so lucky that you lost the weight. I mean, to me, that is, I wouldn't say worst advice, but that's just like the worst maybe compliment that you can give someone.
100%. That's, I mean, a lot of our logos, like a lot of our shirt designs, they have the iceberg. Like, and it's not always like a clear iceberg, but it's because everyone sees that tip of the iceberg sticking out, and that's what you're talking about. The results, the house that you got and everything like that. It's like they don't see the 90% of the iceberg that's under the water that you put in to get to that point. So like when you do give someone a compliment of like, they've given to us as well. Like, you guys are so lucky. You guys are so young to be opening up your, a gym and stuff. So, lucky? I said, really? Do you realize like the amount of work and effort and stuff and like sleepless nights that go into this? It's like, how is there luck? But 100%, I agree with you. And I know Nick does too.
It's one of those smiles that's crazy.
Yeah. And I'd say the best is, I mean, it sounds very cliche or whatever you want to say, but to be yourself and truly do what you want to do if it's going to be positive in your life. But I mean, trust in your process, believe in yourself and be who you are. Because if you're not going to be who you are, chances are it's not going to last. 100%. That's personally what I think.
I like it, bro. You said trust the process.
But honestly, I really want to thank you for coming out. I know we're about to do some work in here. But honestly, I know I kind of like blindsided you with like this, but at the same time, you know, I wanted to give you a huge like, I'm proud of you for the fitness journey that you've been on, because like I see the behind the scenes struggles, and that's why I told Nick, I was like, yo, like we should definitely like put you on right now. Like it's one of those things where like your journey is literally what everyone goes through, but your journey is your own journey, right? But like I just want to say, you know, one, I'm proud of like the work that you put in, you know, from your career to the amount of, you know, changes that you've had physically and mentally, and you know, baby on the way and everything like that. But you know, I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
No, of course, bro. I really enjoyed that episode. Actually, you know what I mean? Like, there's things that I've learned too. That I'm like, damn. Like hearing all the things that you went through and you guys going up, I'm just like, and I've been with Devan for a cool minute, and it just gives perspective.
Yeah.
And it goes back to it's our own perspective at the same time of like, you know, kind of seeing like other people's, and I like that, bro. And hearing from that, it's like I'm happy for you as well, and I know you deserve it because you put in the work.
Thank you. I think a big thing too. Last thing to wrap it up, I feel like a lot of people who are quick to, you know, criticize you when, like for me, when I'm at my biggest, the people who criticize you, I feel like it's like the hardest for them to compliment you once you get to that point too, which it's funny, but you know, it just kind of opens your eyes on, you know, a lot of stuff. But
no, 100%. I mean, because at the end of the day, like you being at your worst makes them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and no one wants to see you succeed. And it's like your internal feelings, whether it's like, damn, like, you know, noticing that, it's like, it sucks, but it's like, at the end of the day, do it for you.
Yeah.
You know, do what makes you happy and do it for you.
Crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The crabs in the bucket. But appreciate you. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for having me on.
Bro.
And now let's get to the work.
Yes, sir.
Catch you in the next one.